Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in cosplay, sometimes you get to wear a costume that by definition kicks ass. But while you're doing so, you want to do it modestly. So I've created a very simple pattern for a pair of shorts that you can wear under your costumes that not only are comfortable, but help you kick ass modestly. So let's jump right in. So first things first, let's talk about fabric and the pattern. Today I've decided I'm going to show you off of a brown pair of shorts that will be worn under the Xena Warrior Princess costume that I recreate. Now I have chosen this brown 4-way stretch fabric. I don't think this is a jersey. I think this is a spandex lycra fabric that I found. Honestly, I can't remember where I found it, but I've had it forever and it's really soft, so I decided to use it. So the pattern that I have created, I actually used this off of a pair of pants that I had a long time ago, and I just refurbished the pattern into a pair of shorts. This pattern seems to fit a very wide variety of people depending on the kind of fabric that you use. So it is a very basic, very simple pattern. Pretty much anyone from intermediate or beginner to intermediate could even use this. So as you can see, the front of the pattern is ever so slightly smaller than the back of the pattern. And the reason that I made the pattern this way is because our bodies are shaped this way. The front of your body is always going to be a little bit smaller than the back because your tush is behind you. So this is the pattern that I'm going to be working with today. Here's a fun fact for you. You can actually change this pattern to be, instead of a 2-piece pattern, to be a 1-piece pattern. And I'm just going to give you kind of a real quick, simple explanation of this. Now, you've seen the 1-piece pattern where you cut 2 and it's just, you know, the full legs that you're cutting out. So basically what I'm showing you here is you can take this pattern piece and you can line them up together, and if they line up on the outside of the leg like mine do, you can recreate this pattern piece I'm showing you in the top left hand corner for a single pattern piece. Now these do fit differently on everybody, and you can alter it, like if you need a bigger waistband or if you need a wider leg. Or you can come in and taper the inside of the leg down here so it actually fits closer to the body like it does on this other pattern that I showed you. So I'm actually going to put this pattern in my Etsy store for you guys, so that way if you want to purchase this pattern and follow along, then you can do so. So jumping right in, I've got my fabric laid out. Now this is actually a remnant fabric because I have to get rid of some of my old fabric in my office so I can bring in some new stuff. And I'm gonna go ahead and just speed through this because I don't think there's really much educational value to showing you me cutting out a very simple pattern. And you're gonna see it's like, yeah, 4 pieces and we're done. Okay, so let's go over to the sewing machine. And today we're going to be using the Brother 1034D Baby Lock Serger to put these shorts together. So I'm actually going to show you real quick how I calibrate my machine. Now on my spools 1 and 2, I do use a stretch thread, and then I use an all-purpose thread on spools 3 and 4. There is a method to my madness, and it's because we are working with a 4-way stretch fabric, which can be kind of temperamental. So I'm going to give you quite a few examples in this so you can sew with ease. So let's take a look at the side of the machine. Of course, we've got our differential feed right here. I think I've got mine set at just above a 1 right now, and I'm going to leave it where, well, we're going to move it up a little bit. My stitch length, I usually keep it right around a 3 or 1 tick past a 3. And then my stitch width, I always keep it at the widest because personally for me, I think it looks better when it's you got that thicker seam. So I'm going to leave the machine how it is. And we're going to go ahead. I'm not even going to touch the knobs up here, all of my tension for my thread. And the best thing to do is just stick your fabric in there and test it out. Now, with a stretch fabric, the one thing that I want to show you guys, and I've seen so many different tutorials for this, you guys need to do what works best for you. Because I found some people want to pull on this fabric really hard and like stretch it out. I'll give it a tug to make the fabric taut. And you can see I'm not really pulling, I'm just kind of making sure that the fabric is taut against the machine as I just allow the machine to pull the fabric through, and I'm not even really helping it, I'm just keeping the fabric flat on the table. The reason for that is if you start tugging on your fabric, you're going to get the bacon ripply effect, which you do not want with your serger. So let me get my camera to focus. And that's actually a really good stitch right there. I might be cheating. I think I've already sewn a fabric like this in the past couple of days, but okay, so you're going to want to give your fabric the good old stretch test. And I want to show you an example of why we're using a higher number on the differential feed. So we're going to kick this back down to a 0.7, and I'm going to go ahead and zip this through the sewing machine real quick here. Again, I'm just keeping it taut. I found that if you don't keep your fabric taut when it's stretchy like this, that sometimes your knife or your needles can pull your fabric down into the machine. I don't know if anyone else has come across that, so that's why I just keep it taut. I'm not really stretching it. But this little piece of lettuce bacony ripply looking is what happens when you're using a lower number on the differential feed. So we're going to kick this bad boy back up to about a 1.75. I found is probably right about the sweet spot for this 4-way stretch fabric. And as you can see there, it's a good line. So we're going to get into sewing. We're going to take the front of the shorts first, and we're going to be sewing the crotch area. And I do have right sides together with this fabric. And I didn't realize that I have some dim spots in filming because I'm using a lot of dark fabrics, and I've got dark fabric underneath the table below me. But we'll make do. Okay, so when you get down to the crotch area, I'm going to show you real quick. We're going to go ahead. Now you see how the crotch kind of comes out to a round. I've had a lot of people ask me how you sew on a curve, and I'm going to show you. This is so easy. Make sure that the edges of your fabric are straight together, and then this fabric, we're going to push it back. So that way it creates a straight line with your fabric coming off your table. And then if it puckers up, you're just going to push it over to the side like this and straighten it out, keeping your fabric taut to the table. And if you have a hard time with a curve like this, the best thing I can say is practice. Take a scratch piece of fabric and just practice, because you'll find that once you get down the curve of serging, that you're going to be wanting to like sew everything with your serger. Well, I did anyway. So again, we're going to do the other piece, and we're going to go ahead and serge down to the crotch area and just kind of push my fabric out of the way. And I'm really not trimming any off. If I trim any off, it's like maybe 1/8 of an inch of the fabric that's coming off the side. But because this is a 4-way stretch fabric, this fabric is really good for hiding sewing errors. Once you get really good at sewing stretch fabric, you'll see that if you make a mistake, it's not as detrimental as it is when you're sewing with, like, say, just a regular cotton. Like, you can hide your mistakes with stretch fabric a lot easier. So what I've done is I've sewn down both sides of the fabric, or of the pant, the outside pant leg. Now we're going to go to the inseam. I have the front of the pant on top, and the back is toward the table. So I do want to explain a bit more about the importance of directionality of your sewing real quick, meaning which pieces should be on top when you're serging. Now, in this diagram, I'm showing you guys that this serged edge, when you open up your fabric, that edge naturally wants to fall toward the lower looper. This also goes for straight stitch sewing machines. So think about that when you're setting in either a collar or a sleeve on a garment, and you might see it in your patterns in the directions they'll say sew with sleeve on top. The reason for that is because that free edge is naturally going to want to fall toward the lower looper. Now, once you're able to identify the right and the wrong side of a serged edge, you'll see in all your t-shirts and all of your garments in your closet that the upper looper is the one that you're actually looking at. And a dead giveaway is it's prettier than the lower looper. So just think about that next time you're putting a garment together. And also there is a reasoning behind this, and it's to reduce bulk in your garment seams. Now these, I'm showing you the seams. You're going to want one going toward the front and one going toward the back. And it depends on how you've serged it. You can see this. One's going one way, one's going the other way. And when you stack them together like that when sewing, it really helps so it doesn't pucker up. Okay, so moving on, let's talk about elastic. I've got 3 different elastics here that I'm going to show you. These 2 are the ones that I use the most. These are the ribbed no roll elastic. I think this round roll is a 3/4 of an inch, and this one, focus, is a Dritz. I think this one is a 1 inch. You can buy both of these. In fact, all 3 of these you can buy over at Joann's or even Hobby Lobby if you have a Hobby Lobby close to you. Then there's also this 3rd one, which I don't remember how this one is advertised, but this is a very soft elastic, and I think that it is good in some pants. But one thing that I have found with, thank you, this elastic, I'm going to show you real quick. It rolls over in pants as a waistband. So see how you pull on it and it kind of bows in the center and it looks like it wants to naturally bend in half like this? That is the worst kind of elastic to use in a waistband. I guarantee after that gets worn a couple of times, then you're going to have this big bunching crap around your waist, and it's just, yeah, we're not going to. Okay, so I think we're going to go with the one on the round roll. We're going to go with the 3/4 inch. And one thing I'm going to tell you when you're cutting out elastic for your waistband, you want to stretch out your elastic before you sew it together. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut out, let's say my client wants 34 inches is what their waist size is. We're going to cut out 32 inches, and we're only going to use maybe 1/2 of an inch to connect the elastic together. But what I do is I stretch my elastic out before I insert it into the pants, because sometimes the elastic can relax or stretch out and not come back to its normal state, if that makes any sense. So I always stretch my elastic out before I put it into a garment, just in case. I hope that makes sense. I need more coffee. Story of my life. Okay, so I'm basically marking the front and the back of this elastic right here. And we're going to take our pair of chonies and we're going to find the front and the back. And the longer side is going to be the back. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to take the elastic and we're going to pin the front center and the back center of the elastic to the pant itself, or short, whatever you want to call it. And no kidding, you guys, from start to finish, if I'm not filming this, I can make a pair of these in like maybe 30 minutes. Probably quicker. Like, they're really super easy. After you've made a couple of them, these are just, they're a breeze. So if you get into a pinch and you haven't done laundry for like a week, you can just make a new pair of pants. I'm totally kidding. That's gross. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and sew the elastic in here. And I like to go ahead and just start and do a couple stitches, and then I'm going to leave my needle in the down position. This is very important. Make sure that needle's down. So I'm going to grab the back in my left hand, and then in my right hand I'm going to find the center by stretching out the elastic and the waistband of the actual shorts. And then I'm going to pinch the side, and I'm going to let go of the back. And then what we're going to do, we're going to work in just increments of 4. So if you see up here, we're just going to sew from one seam to the next seam, because there's 4 seams in these shorts. So you're going to see right here, and I'm cutting off maybe 1/8 of an inch. Don't cut into your elastic. I mean, it's not going to hurt it if you do, but you don't want to. So make sure that you're just eyeballing and you're keeping the elastic on the inside of the cutter so you're not nipping it. And then when you get to this next seam, make sure you put your needle down. And then this is our next back position. And we're going to stretch the fabric out. Now, I'm not stretching, like overstretching. I'm just making sure that the elastic and the pant are flat against each other by stretching. And then I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of that. And then you have your full elastic waistband in your pant. And this is so simple, you guys. Basically what we're going to do is we're just going to roll the elastic over one time. So here's the elastic. What we're going to do is we're going to roll it over toward the inside just once, and we're going to zigzag over the top of that stitching. Now we're at the regular sewing machine. I like to do a couple of straight stitches to kind of keep a stay, like a stay stitch, because there's no stay stitch in a zigzag. So I like to start out with a straight stitch and then move into the zigzag. And I believe I'm at a 2.5 on the zigzag and a 5 on the width. So we're just going to stitch over the top of that serged edge. And it'll help disguise your zigzag. Oh, I was showing you want to make sure that your seams are lined up too. If you have a seam facing toward you, you want to make sure that's facing toward you all the way down the side of the pant, because if it's kind of bunched up underneath that elastic, then you'll be able to fill it when you wear them. So, and as you can see, it's quite literally that easy. Now, I think these are 34-inch waist shorts. Now you can kind of see these little ripple that are throughout the front of the waistband. If you take that over to your iron and with a light steam, just steam out the top of that waistband with the elastic, those are going to shrink up even more and it'll fit better too. Now we're going to hem the bottom of the pant leg. And I always, when you're hemming a pant, a short, anything, hem from the inseam. Capris, whatever. You want to make sure that you hem from the inseam out. So we're going to go ahead and do the straight stitch. And then we're going to go to the zigzag. And I'm just going to zigzag. I'm going to do a double fold and zigzag all the way around the pair of pants. And then we're going to go ahead and do that to both pant legs. And quite literally, you're just keeping your fabric taut on the table, like the same way you were with the serger. Don't stretch it out. Just hold it taut to the table. And this is what your stitching will look like. And voila, there you have it. A new pair of chonies to keep you modest while you are kicking butt. I I hope this was a good, informative tutorial for you guys. However, if I missed anything and you guys do have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. And let me know if there's a project that you guys would like to see me do. As always, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel before you leave. Follow me on all other social media, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.